All right. I have, excuse me. I have no idea if this is working, guys. So if you can hear me, put a one in the chat. If you can't, I guess I'll find out here in a minute. Doesn't look like there's anybody viewing at all yet. Am I even doing this right? Probably not. I got it. Am I live, guys? I don't see a chat on the screen. Can you hear me? I can see the chat, but I can't see the chat on the screen. Can anybody hear me? Okay, so you can see me. All right. How's everybody doing? Goodness. I am obviously terrible at this. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know that you can hear me now. Okay, so first live. I'm excited, guys. I'm excited to have you here. Basically what it is I've come across a few things that I want to discuss with people, bring to the surface. The first is going to be, have you guys heard about what's going on in Chicago on the train? This is nuts, guys. All right, so let me see if I can get this to work. Okay, so apparently I don't have audio in the other screen. Hey, Mrs. D, it's good to have you. Okay, okay. So I'm just starting. Since I've just started with streaming, I set up Streamlabs, and I have no idea what I'm doing. So I tested it the other night in OBS, and it worked great. And then I tried to set up a new process so that I could see, so everybody can see the text. We can all be a Tater Nation. And I must have messed something up. And so let me see if I can get, shoot. Let me see if I can put the mic in. Well, I don't know why it's not. Okay. Sorry, guys. I don't know what I'm doing with this new system. So let me see. Well, it's not that I'm switching cams. It's that I'm switching scenes, and in that scene, in this new in this new system, the scene didn't automatically bring in the sound from the display capture. So you should have at least been hearing the video. Did anybody hear the video at all? Okay, so nobody heard the video either. Man, you guys are awesome. Thank you. Okay, so basically what's going on is like Irina Zarutska, there's been an attack on the Chicago train, and a young woman was set on fire. So I don't know why it didn't bring in the audio for the display. I just blame it on Mr. E. No, I won't blame it on anybody but myself. I'm definitely the one to blame here, guys. I should have just stuck with what I had with the streaming the other night. I was just trying to make it so that I could post the text on the screen, like the big cool Vic, man. You know, I'm just trying to be like everybody else, I guess, right? And I was just trying to post that, and in the process, I should have just kept the old system running. So I guess I'll just kind of talk to you guys for a little bit. Maybe I'll try to see if I can figure. I knew as soon as I was trying to play with it and the sound wasn't there. But long story short, so you can hear me now, right? Everybody can hear me now. You know the story back up so far. Okay, so you can hear me and you know what's going on. So I'm trying to find where it even gives me the opportunity to give the sound for the background. This is nuts. Why is technology like it is? Why does it have to be so complicated? Because basically I was going to show you the video of what happened on the train. And they're saying basically that he is allegedly, he did this. Sorry, there was a video playing and I was trying to see if you guys could hear it. And I can't. Okay, so okay, stop playing now. So here's the story that I came across at first. Chicago, the man accused of dousing a woman in gasoline and setting her aflame on CTA train will stay behind bars. Now, if you read down, Reed is accused of dousing a 26-year-old woman with a bottle of gasoline he filled up at the gas station 20 minutes prior to setting her on fire. The victim was sitting alone, looking at her phone when she was attacked at random. Hey, his words of love. Good to see ya. So she was minding her own business, just like Irina, right? And this man came up and attacked her. And I'll put the picture up on the screen so you at least know what we're looking at. If I can find it, maybe. Maybe not. All right, well, I won't mess with that for too long. Yeah, lovely teeth, huh? Smash that. Thank you, Mrs. D. Thank you very much for that one. You all are very awesome for being here for me. So, this man doused her in gasoline. She fought him off, was able to run to the front of the train, or at least a different part of the train. I was going to read it to you, not just read it to myself and tell you about it, but she ran to the different part of the train. He lit the bottle on fire and was able to ignite her. So going down, Reed has been in 14 criminal cases. 14. In Cook County alone. Now that's 14 of 72 arrests. Now there's different conflicting stories. I've been trying to do a little bit of research on this gentleman to see exactly what is said to be that he actually is involved in, and I can't find a set place to find. But according to Chicago, let's see, ABC7chicago.com, he has 72 arrests, 15 since in 2016. Since 2016, we're not in 2016 anymore. But 15 since 2016. 8 felony convictions, 7 misdemeanors. Spending 32 years in and out of the criminal justice systems, prosecutors say. Now, why was this gentleman even on the train in the first place is my question, right? Everybody can still hear me, right? I didn't lose you guys. So something's got to give. Something we've got to figure something out as far as, and this one wasn't necessarily an immigrant, but we see the color, right? So let me see. Here's another picture of him. Thank you. Quite the strapping young feller, I would say. And this is the young woman that he took from us. That's right, Benjamin. Turnips in the chat. Got to get them. We got to get them spuds. Got to get my Tater Nation. Hit that like button for me, please. All right. So on that subject, like I said, if you haven't heard of Irina Zarutska, let me just go ahead and bring up, because she deserves. Man, this is weird. Trying to switch back and forth. Okay, so that's Irina Zerutska. She was taken from us on a, let's see, let me make sure I'm saying this right. North Carolina train. This was back in August. So it's been a bit, but it doesn't change the fact that the violence needs to stop. Left, right, it doesn't matter anymore. Hey, Pumpkinhead! Good to see you. Good to see everybody. So, let me, man, I wish it would at least play the audio for you guys. That's crazy. Yeah, Pumpkinhead. It's very disappointing that New North Carolina would allow any of this to happen. Anybody on the trains. I don't know much about the latest one with this young woman with on the Chicago train. I don't know her name. I don't know if it tells us. But they both, Irina and her, it's making people scared to get onto the trains. If it's not, it's going to, right? So, man, now that I don't have the ability to show you what I'm gonna, let me see. Seriously, Pumpkinhead, that's why I don't let my guard down around anybody either. I'm very, very leery of everyone. Even when I have my phone in my hand or my headset on, I'm very leery about anybody in my personal space. Desktop audio. This might be the right one. Audio. Oh. Why do I have two now? Okay, let me bring this up and hopefully you guys can hear it, and I'll start it and then I will come back. Natalia, hey, how are you? Good to see you. Did not expect the people in the chat to be here. Thank you very much, all of you. Okay, so let me start this video for you.
Oh, I didn't see you there. What am I reading, you ask? Well, just one of the best-selling books on Amazon right now, with millions.
Can you hear that? Okay, so you can hear the video, but not me. Try talking in the other screen and see if we can hear you now. Okay, I think I might have. Okay, so you guys can hear the video, but you can't hear me in the other screen. You can hear me in this screen. Okay, so let me start the video because you can hear the video in the other screen. So I can show you what women are watching or reading, and we can talk about it when I can figure out either get back to this screen or I can figure out how to talk to you in that screen. Because I can see all of you, and yeah, this is crazy. Like I said, I had tested all this. I knew what I was doing. The guys that are watching that aren't in the chat, thank you very much for watching. Those that are in the chat, thank you very much for sticking with me here. Okay, so let me go ahead and get you started on the video.
Oh, I didn't see you there. What am I reading, you ask? Well, just one of the best-selling books on Amazon right now. With millions of sales and almost 20,000 five-star reviews, this book has been absolutely blowing.
I think you should be able to hear me now. I think I figured it out. So, we should be good to go, hopefully. What's the book, you ask? What's the book, you ask? Well, that might be fun.
Up, especially on TikTok, or book talk as the kids call it. Thousands and thousands of women in particular have been raving about this piece of literature. What piece of literature is it, you may ask? Well, Morning Glory Milking Farm, of course.
What is wrong with women? All right. Real quick, mic check, making sure you're all hearing me now, making sure everything's good to go. I see the chat. Thank you, Cold Fist. Appreciate that feedback. All right, so let me play it for a little bit. What book is that? For real? For real. Just wait, guys. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh, okay. All right. So let me see if that helped with the audio. So it's interesting, just so you guys know what I'm looking at. I'm seeing a chat that's pulling up through Streamlabs, and then I'm seeing a chat on the screen, and the chat that's on the screen, I'm pretty sure is reacting faster than what I'm seeing, maybe. I'm not sure where that chat is also coming from because I don't see Cold Fist in the chat on the side. And I could be just being a potato. I mean, I am a potato after all. Okay, so I see the bottom. So maybe the chat on the screen is behind. But I'm not seeing Cold Fist. All right. Anyway. Okay, so Benjamin, thank you for the feedback. You can hear me in this screen. You can hear the audio in this, or the video in this screen. Much faster. Okay, so let me go ahead and get into our video of the day, right? We're ready for this. Yes, his words of love, they should. Community service for a year is the very least of what they should be doing from this particular piece of literature that we're going to be covering here. Okay, so here's the video. Now that I've turned down the audio on the video, and my mic is still where it's at. So we'll see if this works, because I don't want to turn my audio up anymore because it looks like it might be trying to peak out. So I'll shut up now.
A popular romance novel about a young woman down on her luck who does what every young woman does when facing financial struggle.
She gets an OnlyFans. No, of course not. She wouldn't degrade herself like that.
She starts an OnlyFans.
Just like
I'm just kidding. She wouldn't degrade herself like that. She gets a job jerking off monsters.
What the frick? I'm sorry. What is with women? Like, love y'all. Don't get me wrong. And the ones that are reading this, maybe, I don't know. But why would anybody write this book? But why would anybody read the back cover? Because I personally like to read the back cover of things and say, okay, this looks like something. Okay, sweet. Loud and clear on all channels. Thank you. Now, how's the audio to the video now? Cold Fist mentioned that. Let me see. Audio is much better. Okay, thank you, Cold Fist. I don't know why you're not showing up in the chat. I might have to figure that out later. All right. So, yeah, let's just get into it because this is a wild ride, guys.
That's right, the Morning Glory Milking Farm.
I have been reading Morning Glory Milking Farm since last night, and I'm obsessed.
This was a good time. It did not disappoint.
If this book is trash, then I am a fucking raccoon. Give me all of the garbage.
Get your eyeballs on this because it is so good.
Come on, girls. Why are you taking it from us, right? I mean, no, I'm seriously though. This is not okay for either man or woman. This kind of garbage, this kind of smut, this level, right? We shouldn't be getting into this kind of stuff.
I regret to inform you that there is a new epidemic. An epidemic that many have yet to discuss. And that epidemic is female gooners.
I'm reading what I read.
Now, for those of you unaware, gooner...
I'm sorry for anyone that is viewing this that is uncomfortable, because I'm uncomfortable showing it, but it has to be shown. It has to be put out there, right? I mean, right? Am I right? Let's see. Let's see how this works. Of course it's going to give me that. I was hoping to highlight a text. Like, I worked so hard to try to figure out, and now I can't even figure that out, of course. Because, you know, that's just how it goes, I guess. Yeah. So, let's see, Pumpkinhead, and then Benjamin, and Pumpkinhead, and then Benjamin, and Coldfist isn't even on my chat. That's irritating. Oh, man. Coldfist, it's good to see you. I'm sorry I can't see what you're saying because my screen is too dang small of what I can actually see you typing on. Anyway, all right. So we're going to get back into this video. I'm not sure why these women are viewing this kind of stuff or reading this kind of stuff. See, men, we view things, right? We look at the P word. We get stimulated by viewing things. Women get stimulated by reading things. We all understand this. And there's some level of romance, fantasy, whatever you want to call it, when it comes to women reading that I completely understand. And a lot of people can get behind. But when it comes to filth, this smut, these are... I'll get into it. Let's just get into it.
Is internet slang for someone addicted to porn. And smut is slang for dark romance novels, otherwise known as porn. Many correct about the dangers of addiction with men, how it can destroy their lives and their relationships, and most men know the material they consume is weird. That is why they are ashamed of it. That is why they delete their browser history.
It's why they go incognito, right? And they keep it incognito, and then they delete their browser history or whatever. They lock their files away or whatever they have to do to keep it hidden from their significant other or whoever else, right? But regardless of what you're doing, whether it's reading it, whether it's viewing it, you're wiring your brain to think of something different, something not necessarily natural. And regardless of whether it's natural to the social viewership, whatever you want to call it, it does not mean it's natural when it comes to your oxytocins, your dopamine levels, right?
That is why they go incognito mode. But these bitches freaks out here. They display their smut openly in bookstores. They proudly pose in front.
All right, let's just back up real quick here. I mean, hey, there we go. So, I mean, we've got a dragon's bride enthralled that looks like maybe, I'm not sure what that is. Something sleep with a cow's skull on his head. What are women doing? I mean, is this really what we like to see? Like, I'm scared, guys.
Their smut openly in bookstores. They proudly pose in front of their smut collections. They discuss their smut openly on TikTok. They go to smut conventions and get choked out by 9-foot-tall shirtless wendigos. Now, I know what you are thinking. Shoo, isn't this the pot calling the kettle degenerate? Yes.
Hey, DeLorean. I'm not sure if I know who you are. Welcome to the chat, sir. Thank you very much for the engagement.
Yes, it is.
Sorry.
But have you considered it takes one to truly know one? You see, women are straight.
Well, I guess that is fair. It does take one to know one typically. And if you're willing to call them out, then that's cool. We'll just see how she actually calls them out here, I guess, right?
Strange, fast.
Why is it always... Right. That's kind of what I'm trying to figure out, is all of those books were along the lines of not human. And I'm all for fantasy, and we'll get into it later, but I mean, goodness.
Fascinating creatures. For centuries, men have tried to figure us out. Our mood is affected by the tides and the moon. We bleed for 5 days and don't die. By painting my face, I can instantly shapeshift from a 4 to a 6. We are truly...
And they accuse us of being the ones who are always lying. Makeup has got to be, I don't know, something. It's just, we got to stop using it. I want to say it needs to be outlawed, but I'm against more government regulation. But the idea that it can literally change your facial structure to the view, and then you take a bath, you go for a swim or whatever, and you're a completely different person. And you accuse us of lying. I want to say that I'm against lying, but I mean, everybody lies, so I can understand, but we need to stop lying. We need to get away from that idea. We need to get back into caring about what people think about us. Well, not necessarily what they think about us, but what we're actually doing. Integrity is all that we have. All right. Anyway.
Mysterious, magical creatures. But one of the most mysterious aspects of women to men is our sexuality. You see, us women are not like those disgusting moids. No, we are sophisticated. We are evolved. We don't watch videos of strangers slapping their sweaty bodies together. No, we read about strangers slapping their sweaty bodies together.
It's better. They read it. And I'm not necessarily disagreeing. I mean, but this level? Again, there's some fantasy. I've read some books that get steamy at times, but I wouldn't call them smut books. I'd call them romance books that get a little steamy. There's a level that I think that we get to here. Makeup is an illusion. Yes, it is. And no, I can't understand women. I understand that, Pumpkinhead. I'm fully behind you. I don't think that I can. But I would like to be able to say that we are trying to be on the same level as each other. Reading is good. Yes, reading is good. Please read more. This, not so much. This, not so much. No, not this stuff at all.
It's different, okay? You don't understand. It's okay when we do it. So, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the rapidly growing...
Again, I do not agree that it's okay for women to be reading this level. To be able to say I read something that allows me to be more involved with my significant other, for example, right? You're envisioning something that's a fantasy, but it could possibly be a reality for you and your significant other. That's a little different as far as I'm concerned. And even that just kind of depends because, for example, 50 Shades of Grey should never have been released to the public, for example, right?
Growing popularity of dark romance on TikTok and the recent dark romance convention that ended in disaster. Let's take a break from all this depressing political news and talk about something silly. Not that those political things aren't important, trust me, they are. You should be keeping up with politics and the news when you can. I know it can be difficult to do, but fear not. I have an app for that. So before we get into this video, let's quickly give a shout out to our sponsor, Ground News. Ground News is a web...
And this is our ad. I don't have any sponsorship through Ground News. However, I do use Ground News. I'm not a member of them yet. But I would also recommend Ground News. They're a very good source to collaborate all of the different sources together. And they allow you to see different things. And she's probably going to be able to give you a better ad than I can.
Website and an app that gives readers an easy way to read news from all across the political spectrum, from left, right, and center. Every story comes with a quick visual breakdown of political bias that helps you understand the full story and makes sure you're getting both sides. One of my favorite features on Ground News is the blind spot feature, which shows you news stories that have been covered by one side of the political aisle and ignored by the other. For example, here's a story about how Gavin Newsom is signing a bill to give 800,000 Uber and Lyft drivers in California the right to unionize.
I'm sorry, what? I guess it's his state, but yeah, Ground News is a good source. We'll just leave it at that. We'll jump forward here real quick because I appreciate the ad.
A country divided, truly. Ground News also makes it very easy to compare headlines so you can see how political bias completely reframes a story. For example, talking about how Trump has been posting a bunch of those sombrero memes, and the New York Post says White House official behind called it an excellent
And
weekend.
it's still
So
going?
thank you
Holy
to
cow.
Ground News for sponsoring this video, and thank you, the viewer, for not skipping the ad.
Yeah, we did though. We did. We
Right.
did because you just kept going. All right. So real quick, Cold Fist. I'm sorry, buddy. I can't see your chat. So I'm dark romance. Yes, absolutely. This stuff is crazy. It's ridiculous. And I'm not ignoring you, buddy. And no turn-ups in the chat. We have all likes. Awesome. Thank you, everybody. And on behalf of all women, you don't want... No, you shouldn't. And I appreciate at least one of you speaking up. I appreciate that. Skip that. Yeah, I should have. But no, seriously, though, Ground News is a good place to get your news from.
So let's get back to the video.
Let's get back to it.
Book Talk is a very interesting place, and any book fans out there know how it has absolutely destroyed the hobby of literature and just flooded it with absolute slop. Spicy slop. You see, books on TikTok are not rated by how well they are written or how good the characters are. No, they are rated by the spice. And what does spice mean? Porn. It means porn. Spice level is very important to book talkers. How much spice does a book have? What are the spiciest books they have ever read? How spicy is the book they're currently reading? Spice, spice, spice. The spiciest book going viral on Book Talk lately is none other than Morning Glory Milking Farm by C.M. Nascosta. Violet is a typical down-on-her-luck millennial, mid-
All right, so sorry. Pumpkinhead, you can't see anybody else in the chat? That's weird. This thing is so crazy. Okay, so I'm gonna have to work some things out apparently because I can't see Cold Fist in my main chat, and you can't see anybody else in the chat. That's concerning. Okay, so is there anybody else in the chat that can't see anybody else? Or the names that I've listed. And if I've mispronounced anybody in the chat, I'm a potato. Please remember that. I am sorry. I'm not trying to offend anybody. And I might have to work, because I tried to work I tried to work out the chat box so that it was going to be big enough that I would be able to view it. And it didn't end up happening. So, yeah, and I'm bummed out because I wanted to see everybody's. That was the whole thing I tried so hard to do. All right, so let me get back to this. I'll skip back just a little bit because she's explaining the premise of the book.
How spicy is the book they're currently reading? Spice, spice, spice.
Spice,
the
spice,
spiciest book going viral on Book Talk lately is none other than Morning Glory Milking Farm by C.M. Nascosta. Violet is a typical down-on-her-luck millennial, mid-20s, overeducated, and drowning in debt. Oh my god! She's just like me! On the verge of moving into her parents' basement, when a lifeline appears in the form of a very unconventional job in the neighboring Cambric Creek. She has no choice but to grab it with both hands.
What? Okay.
Morning Glory Farm offers full-time hours, full benefits, and generous pay with no experience needed. There's only one catch. The clientele is grade A certified prime beef. Oh, God. With the manly, meaty endowments to... Okay.
Okay, please stop. Gee, many Christmas. Thankfully, her name is Shoe on Head. If you haven't seen Shoe on Head, now you have. But if you haven't checked her out, her screen name is Shoe on Head, so it's pretty easy to find her from that. But she's read this book. I am very grateful because I would not ever read this book. I guess as she says, it takes one to know one, whatever. I don't know. Maybe I'm not one, and so I just can't possibly read a book like this. But she goes on to explain it a little bit.
Morning Glory Milking Farm is actually a
Oh my goodness, this part. Yeah, so I've done a little bit of research on this book, right? So I watched this review, and I saw this lady, and I was like, okay, this has to be a joke, right? It has to be satire. No. She's serious.
profound critique of late-stage capitalism and toxic masculinity. In this text, we see that the tingling sensation in her coochie is actually the tingling sensation of a Marxist revolution.
This is every fucking breadtube video to me, dude. This is every Jack Saint video. So I actually read the book myself, and I'm not gonna lie. The 19th Amendment needs to be abolished. So, like I said, the story is based.
So as far as that goes, I don't have a comment on that per se. I think anybody that bought or read this book shouldn't be able to vote. Just saying. We need to roll back voting. This is crazy.
Basically this millennial named Violet, and she gets a job basically working at Big Pharma in Narnia, where they harvest Minotaur milk to make Viagra for human males.
But the premise of this book, Like, again, why would anybody write this? Anyway, so yeah, she could have used Grok to just summarize the book. Oh, Cold Fist, you're probably 100% correct. However, we wouldn't get the emotional feel of it, right? This is nuts, though. The title alone is cringe. Seriously, though, it just gets worse. Like, I'm trying not to spoil it for you guys because I've done some research on this book to try to make sure that what I'm saying is legitimately the way it is. And yeah, this gets crazy. Seriously, the tingling sensation, or like, what? I get it. You're being descriptive. The underlaying of a good novel is how descriptive you can be. And so if you want to sell a good novel, you're going to have to be descriptive. That's why you don't write a book like this. What?
And I read the whole thing. Probably gonna be put on some kind of watch list. But listen, this is my job, okay? I'm not out here like selling feet pics or something. What I do is far more dignified and normal. Now, let's take a look at some of these notes I wrote. Let's see. Big dick and balls. At one point, she says the
her notes are just spot on, I guess. But reading this kind of stuff is going to fry your brain, like we all admit that the P word does, right? This is essentially it.
term, and I quote, the seam of his sack. So I'm reading this and the whole time I'm thinking like, okay, he probably has like a human head, right? He probably like looks something like this, like, you know, just a dude with like horns. Then I see the official art.
Even that would be like, what? Even that is, I personally, I would never go for a mermaid. I would never go for, I mean, the siren. The difference in like, why? That's weird, man.
With like horns. Then I see the official
Just wait,
artwork.
though.
That's a cow.
That is a straight out cow. Like, they get into, yeah, I'll just let her explain it, but they get into it and it's just weird. It just keeps getting weirder.
Bro is a cow. Bro is a straight up cow. In a few parts, they're being intimate, and it will be like, his hooves clip clopped. My hooves will tear up your sheets.
See, like, how is that, how is that romantic? How is that, like, I'm sure I'm being polite and telling you that this is going to end up happening if you allow this to get to that point. But what? Come on.
And it's like, I'm sorry, his what? At one point, she describes kissing him. And I swear to God, it was more disgusting than anything else described in this book. She's like describing how big and wide his mouth is and how big and like slimy his tongue is. She's like describing the shit and you're just like, that's a cow. I mean, we are at a solid.
Like, I mean, this is where we should be staying. We shouldn't even be going there, honestly. But that, I guess that's human-ish. But this is not okay. This is not okay. This is, what the, exactly. What the is that?
5.5 on the Barbeau scale here. This is dangerous territory, folks. She also f***ers his ass.
What? Why would you even write that in a book? For one. And for, like, ladies. What?
She f***ers the cow's ass. By the way, if you want an uncensored version of this video and all my videos, Patreon. Go to Patreon, become a member. All members get the uncensored version of every video, so you can hear me talking about s***ing and f***ing and f***ing a cow's ass. school. Is that what you freaks want? Anyway,
No,
I like how
that's
in this
not what
fantasy
we
world,
want.
student loans still exist. Like, we can imagine a world with minotaurs and humans in a relationship, but we can't imagine a world without student loans. Sad. Oh, and he has one of those...
Seriously, of course it is. Body positivity everywhere. Apprentice, that's like, I get a body positivity. We all need to be positive about our outlook on ourselves. But there's a level of being, I'm perfect the way I am, and there's a level of being, I'm understand where I am and I'm trying to achieve better. I'm trying to be a better human being. I'm trying to be a better person in general, right? The healthier you are, the better your partner is going to be off, as well as yourself.
bull rings, like the nose ring theory septum rings. And in this world, that means, like, you're married, but apparently he's divorced. The man is divorced. This is a divorced cow with a cow ex-wife.
And I guess it might go over the, but in another video, if it wasn't this one about this, is I guess he's been divorced for like 2 years and he hasn't taken it out yet. It's just like, again, why do we continue to write about this? This is some weird stuff that they're writing about.
Lore is deep, folks. The funniest part, though, has to be when they go on a date. I need to just read this to you. When the bill arrived, she attempted to pull a handful of carefully folded bills from her wristlet before he stopped her. No, that's absolutely not happening. Put that away. She'd not thought about it until the day after their first dinner together, realizing that in mortification that she ought to have attempted to pay her half. What kind of feminist are you? She asked herself. She couldn't remember the last time she'd been out and hadn't paid for her half, including her coffee date with Carson Tinsley. She had come prepared that night, several weeks of her tips smoothed and tucked into her wristlet. But I didn't even offer to pay half the other night and shouldn't have. Violet. If the commanding rumble of his voice hadn't silenced her, the heat of his hand.
This gets so ridiculous. Of course, she's, a feminist until the check comes, right? It's usually how it ends up going with these ladies. Like, I don't have a problem paying for you. That is my ultimate goal. But for you to think that you can then go out and earn your own and have your own and do your own thing, that's where it becomes a debate. In this day and age, we can't live off of just one income. I would love to be able to be the sole provider, but that's not a real possibility. So we do what we got to do, and you have to earn. But to believe that you can stay at home and still get everything given to you as well as going to earn somehow is where it gets a little finicky, right? So like she says, we can theorize about a realm of minotaurs, but we can't theorize that she can just work her way out of the debt, like actually work. Like, oh my goodness, imagine that.
Dropping to her knee would've. I don't want you to feel that you don't have any agency here. I might be the one giving all the orders, but you hold all the cards. Your comfort is the only thing that counts right now. And if I overstep, I want you to know you can tell me so. But that's not happening. Don't think I'm unaware we're at different points in our careers. You can say no, you can say you don't want to see me again, you can tell me to stop coming to the farm when you're working. It's dinner, not a down payment of your time. But I'm in a position to comfortably spoil someone.
What?
So when you're with me...
Again, we're theorizing a universe where minotaur cows have money? They can work to make money, but she can't. What? Why?
I'm spoiling you. End of story. She was a good feminist, she told herself, and she definitely couldn't be bought. But if he had
until the check came. She was a good feminist until the manly man came along and was willing to pay for her, and then all feminism went out the window, and she was willing to let him pay for her.
Suggested at that moment that he would have appreciated a blowjob, she would have fallen face first on his cock with an open mouth without a shred of hesitation.
I'm sorry, what? ladies, you have a serious, serious problem with men degrading you and objectifying you, but then you run out to get a book like this that's literally objectifying you. You go out and become an OF model, which is literally objectifying you. You're now an object for someone to buy, for someone to pay for, to see whenever they want to. And that has got to stop. We have got to change that idea. If you're going to read about some hot and steamy stuff, try to keep it to human.
Hesitation. Inside every woman, there are two wolves. Or two bulls. The strong, independent girl boss and the submissive...
And they want two balls, apparently. What? I mean, come on.
Doting housewife. And in the presence of a masculine man, or a farm animal, she will fold like a lawn chair and instantly return to factory settings.
It's dinner, not a down payment for your time. But I'm in a position to come...
Mushmouth Joe. Oh, beastie girls. Yep. That is that what we start calling them now? Oh man, this is crazy. Okay,
Of a masculine man.
Sorry.
Or a farm animal. She will fold like a lawn chair and instantly return to factory settings.
It's dinner, not a down payment for your time. But I'm in a position to comfortably spoil someone. So when you're with me, I'm spoiling you. End of story. I said, okay, I highlighted that paragraph for myself.
Clean up aisle 5.
Okay, so again, this is what you're craving. You just said it, and yet when a man tries to be that, we're a creep. We're a chauvinist. We're whatever the case may be. All we're trying to do is be that masculine, that I hate to use these words because everybody, they hate these words, masculine, dominant, that's what you crave. You're showing us by the books that you overwhelmingly read.
That's what I thought of it. But what did other people think of it? What are the reviews
There's
on
the
this
reviews.
book? This book has a 4.1 on Amazon with 21,000 ratings and a 3.6 on Goodreads with nearly 60,000 ratings. Let's just read some random ones here. Hear me out. Hear me out. A milking good time. Sweet and creamy.
Hear me out? If you have to start your review with "hear me out," you know it wasn't a good read. So this one. What?
The spice is spicing.
And so again, I did a little bit of research, and there was a guy recommending this. A guy. Sorry if I was speaking out there, guys. Holy cow. This is beyond crazy to me. I knew that the 50 Shades of Grey and the vampire, the werewolf, those kind of ideas. Even the werewolf is weird. Even the vampire is, but I mean, at least they're human, almost human. It's just like what, their teeth? I'm not into the whole lore. I'm a potato. But to think that there's some ladies out there that are actually into lizards, are actually into cows, like this gets worse. It just keeps getting worse.
I was very leery of starting this because I thought it was just going to be porn. The plot is pretty good. The plot? Please. This is like the new, I read Playboy for the articles, like, sure you do. This book could kill a Victorian child. 5 stars, I'll never look at a jug of milk the same. I think I'm lactose intolerant now. So that happened. Our eyes will never see the gates of heaven. 1 star, not a helpful guide. This book failed to teach me how to milk a cow and now my family has no food for the winter. 1 star, accidentally ordered while on pain medication after an operation. Gave this to my mom as a joke gift for Christmas. You what? Lesai, why can't human males be more like this?
Seriously, what? I'm sorry, what? Like, why can't human males be more like this? We are. You just have to find the right ones. All right, so I finally figured my chat out. Like, potato, hey! I now see you, Cold Fist, and I appreciate you continuing to stick with me. Now I think I see everybody in the chat that is supposed to be in the chat. And yes, Cold Fist, I would rather read a furry smut made by a man than a smut for women. I can't necessarily agree per se, but more than likely probably, because it would be like, dude, this is gross. Why would you even read this? And that would be the end of the book.
Tall, rich, and handsome are no longer enough, boys. Now you have to be a 9-foot-tall creature from Greek mythology with a 13-inch dick. I never want to hear from another person.
And there it is. And that's exactly it right there. If you're reading things that excite your brain further than what a human man can provide, it's going to essentially rewire your brain to think of things in a different way. They'll explain it too, but again, the P word, we all know that as men view Victoria's Secret magazine, right? That was what everybody started out with. And then it went to Playboy, whatever, and then it went to the next step up, and now it's full-blown some weird... And we all know that. But women, they keep it in their books. And it's never been a concern before. And it should have been, because they're frying their brains just as much as men are with their version. So this needs to be brought to the surface.
About how they read 100 books in a year if this is the kind of slop they are consuming. Well, Ronald, man detected, this isn't for you. This is for women. So take your ass back to Barely Legal Babysitter 5 or whatever the f*** you watch that is so morally superior than this. Let him who is without sin cast the first stone, okay? God bless America. It's great to live in a country where I can casually enjoy cozy erotica about a young woman who milks her way to financial security and true love with a minotaur. This is what freedom looks like. And
this is the face they end with. I mean, obviously they liked it, but this is the face they end with. This is the face they should have stuck with.
I intend to fully enjoy it before the Supreme Court takes this right away next. If this is what freedom looks like, I'm really rethinking my stance on freedom, not gonna lie. Maybe we should have less of it. All I know is if Donald Trump...
Maybe we should have less of it. Like I've been saying, and I'll continue to say, the way that we are interacting with society nowadays, it's starting to become detrimental. It's starting to. But we need to be, if we're going to be regulated, we need to be regulated. If we're not going to be regulated, we need to figure out what we're doing. Because what we're doing now is getting nuts.
Takes the monster porn. We are going to make 2020 look like a picnic, okay? Bullcock matters. Oh my god. Edit that out. Editor, edit that out.
No, they didn't. That part cracks me up every time. No, but doesn't matter. And I do hope that they, get rid of this kind of stuff. Less freedom, but it needs to be self-restrained. Yes, Apprentice, absolutely. Less freedom, but it needs to be self-restrained through morals and ethics. That is absolutely correct. Whether you're religious or whether you're secular, we all need to have an understanding of what is best for everyone. Not just, I want this, so I'm going to take it now, and it doesn't matter what it's going to ultimately do in the end, right? We need to have unity again.
Women are going to be picking up Animal Farm now, like, where's the horse cock? Some of you people owe a certain streamer an apology because this book has way too many 5 stars. Some of you are lying. So after buying this
Some are-
book, Amazon has given me a few interesting recommendations. Would you like to see them? I accidentally
Here we
summoned a
go.
demon boyfriend. That time I got drunk and saved a demon. Gentling the beast. Cupcakes for my orc enemy. Mane of my existence. The gargoyle and the spinster. The widow and the orcs. Hoarded by the dragon. There's something about dragons. Getting it on with gargoyles. Gotten by the gator.
Like I said, there's something about that's a lizard. There is nothing human about that. And this one here, those, like, why, ladies? Why? I don't want to grow nails like that, personally. Why would you want to be scratched? You can grow nails like that. You can, I guess. I'm not necessarily a fan of it per se myself, but to each their own. But why?
Mated to the mountain bear. Oh, so this is why they chose the bear. The billionaire orc. Moth manager. Wolf.
What? And these might not be bestsellers, right? These are just the suggestions that Amazon is giving. But why would you even write this kind of stuff? Like, I'm sorry, but what? Exactly. Foofy, I completely agree with Apprentice as well. Where is the standard? Where is the restraint, right? People need to have some understanding of what is going to be best down the road, right? I always try to take into account my partner's needs, my partner's feelings. Mine has to come first. Obviously, you can't fill from an empty cup, but we always have to watch out for each other. That's why every stream I end, every video, hopefully the stream I'll end the same way, but every video I end with, watch out for your neighbor and be kind, because kindness and niceness are not the same. If you haven't viewed Andrew Wilson's version of it, kindness is telling people what they need to hear. Doing is what needs to be done. And niceness is giving them what they want in the moment. It doesn't really help anything in the end, right? Ben, why is it always the most degenerate? Yeah, pretty much. And then this gives the Beauty and the Beast a run for its money. Cold Fist, I love that you brought that up. Because, yeah, what's really sad is that it's worse. It's worse because they don't change, right? In Beauty and the Beast, he was a man that was cursed and put into a wolf or whatever he was. I'm not a big fan of the idea because it's still that. And he then turns back into a human, where this one, they're not human. There's nothing human about them. They don't turn back at the end of the book. It's just that's that.
Wolves and whipped cream. The wolf in my tavern. Pounded by produce. Oh, what? Are these the books the Nazis burned?
I'm starting to wonder exactly what it was. Exactly.
My husband only reads finance and sci-fi books, and so I think it's about time that I introduce him to some real literature. So the first book that I would like to introduce you to is called Morning Glory Milking Farm, and it's not a normal milking farm like with
show the husband, show the husband, because I'm gonna bet that there isn't one.
cows. What it is it's big, bulky minotaurs, and it's a special type of milking.
See, honey, she's his stepsister, and she got stuck in the washing machine again. Women on TikTok are openly, proudly talking.
Yeah, guys, if you're out there and your woman is reading stuff like this, burn it. Right now. Go out, grab it, and burn it. They should not be reading this kind of stuff. No one should be reading this kind of stuff. This is crazy. Yeah, Foofy. You'll notice that in almost all of the titles of this garbage, there's a strong male taking care of a woman. A male is meeting all of her needs, taking control and inserting dominance. Yeah, asserting dominance. Feminism? No. That's, again, like I said before, ladies, you want that feeling of masculinity, that feeling of how do I better word it, that he can rip you in half. You want that ability without him utilizing it. And yet when it turns around, hey, Tyler, good to see you, man. Good to see you, buddy. When it boils down to it, women want that power. They want that protection, that providence. They want this. We have got to get out of this idea that masculinity is a bad thing. I for the longest time, I'm not going to lie, I had a struggle with quote unquote what we see as masculinity. But it boils down to the fact that we need to have a stronger stance. Like the saying, I think it says, as Christians, if we don't rule as Christians, we'll be ruled over by so-and-so Christians. It's time that we as a people start to unify in the morals and values that really matter, whether that be Christian or not. Okay? I only want people to be unified in caring for each other. Not this idea that I want what I want, so you can go.
Talking about the porn they consume and getting mad at people when they make fun of it. I hereby ban men from reacting to romantasy on TikTok. Best-selling romantasy books like A Court of Thorns and Roses and A Fourth Wing contain descriptions of hot sex. I feel like that's common knowledge, if not their primary purposes. But in recent months, book talk has become full of men clutching their pearls while reacting to steamy scenes from these popular female-centered books. Obviously, this is all a massive performance. We live in the age of OnlyFans. The odds are that these men have seen actual porn that defies the laws of physics and God. Over 90% of men between the ages...
Yes, where, again, I don't disagree with that comment. There's some things that need to be shamed. And we do, to a certain extent, shame the men that watch the weird pee. Right? I mean, it's not as much as we should probably be shaming them. There's some weird stuff out there. But the idea that women and men are different. So women are reading this kind of literature are going to end up hurting them. And that's what is concerning to me. I'm trying to protect people. Mentality, physically, everything in the way. I want to protect people. I want to help in the end. And like it says here, men between ages of 16 and 73 watch pee at any random month. There's statistically no way of all these guys being shocked that they see this, right? But it doesn't change the fact that two wrongs don't make a right.
16 and 73 watch porn in any random month. There's statistically no way all of these guys are shocked by the sex itself. What they are gawking at is sex from the perspective of female desire, scenes that depict women coming first and frequently. And what they are surprised by is the women they know love these scenes. In one video, a guy declares, "Now I know why women enjoy book clubs and wine." But his astonishment in itself is astonishing. Like, what do you think adult women were into? Not having sex and drinking wine? Grow up. Imagine a group of men.
And that is concerning because women should have the ability to have book club. They should have the ability to sit around and enjoy each other's company. But like she's just about to say, if men were sitting around discussing what they watch, women would have a fit. Like there would be no way that those men would ever find a woman again. That would be blasted all over the internet. So again, this idea of uniformity or equality or whatever you want to call it, if we're going to be unified, we need to be unified. I believe my partner is my partner, but there is a certain level of dominance that I have to take, because in the end, you don't ask a general why he's giving the orders. You just react. Because if you don't, there's a good possibility you don't survive that interaction if you're on the battlefield. So we're trying to protect you when it comes down to, we need you to act now, right? It's not a male, masculine, toxic masculinity. We're just trying to help you. We're trying to protect you. But yes, hypocrisy at its core, male dominance is the standard, Foofy. I completely agree. And a lot of women do, whether they want to admit it or not. And I'm not trying to be a bad guy here. I'm really not. I'm just trying to get back to an understanding of what actually is. And what actually is men are stronger than women. We're the ones who provide the protection. And if you're a couple that is opposite, like if the woman is stronger than the man, awesome, right? Cool, I guess. Weird, I don't know. Now that I say it, it sounds so weird. Like that, I couldn't do it. But I'm a dominant person. I like to be able to provide and protect. I don't want to control. That's not my goal. My goal is unity. My goal is to understand each other again.
And sitting around drinking wine, discussing the porn they watch. That is what you guys are essentially doing. It's just funny, okay? Like, it's funny. Are we really going to pretend that a story about a young woman getting a job milking mythical creatures to pay off her student debt is not funny? It's funny. If that makes me a sexist or misogynist, you got me. To act.
Well, at least she's willing to admit it. His words of love. Knights are humans. That is perfectly acceptable to believe. Yeah. I believe knights were real. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a potato there. I thought they were at one point in time, but yeah. Yeah, Pumpkinhead, all about girl bosses and independent women. Like, I don't agree with independent women. Because when it really comes down to it, women are the nurturers, and they need to be. They need to be allowed the ability to be that.
Like you are so different and above the other gooners is just, it's silly. I'm sorry, but you are no different than Joe Schmo jorking it to fat booty Latinas in Space 12. You're sitting there all high and mighty, one hand on the book, acting like you're so superior because you can perfectly envision a horse spinning 360 degrees in your mind. I'm not impressed. The scenes these men are reading, to many people, myself included, are insanely sexy. But purely in terms of the acts being described, they aren't all that lurid. And as many of the comments on these videos point out, there's much wilder stuff out there. For example, these men have clearly not yet discovered knotting, a popular term in romantasy right now that involves werewolves whose penises get so swollen after sex they have to stay inside their partners until the swelling subsides. Oh, honey, that's not a popular trend in romantasy. That's just a thing real dogs do. Oh, you just don't get it. You don't know what knotting is. What are these women reading, bro? What happened to that, like, stupid fucking corny...
Like, yeah, seriously. Again, that's not even... That is a real thing that does not happen in people. So that's not even a fantasy part, but it like, what? Why? Like, I get it. I do. I get it, but no. Like, what?
Hallmark thing, going home for Christmas to your hometown and falling in love with the cute farmer boy. What happened to that? We used to make fun of that. We truly did not know what we had until it was gone. Now women out here fantasizing about getting their asses clapped by demons and werewolves and goblins and ghouls. I remember when 50 Shades of Grey came out and people were like, oh my god, this is so crazy. Women are crazy. 50 Shades of Grey looks like missionary sex through a bedsheet for the sole purpose of procreation compared to the shit the average woman on TikTok is reading. At least Christian Grey was a human man and not a f***ing dog. You fantasize about dating the quiet, shy, nerdy girl. You know, she's innocent, she's pure, she's not like those other girls, like going out clubbing and hooking up with random men. No, she's at home, curled up by the fire in a blanket, reading a book, except that book is about f***ing a half man, half bull. Let me let you...
Seriously, again, like 50 Shades of Grey, I do not agree with at all whatsoever. It should never come out to the light of day. But this idea that, again, at least he was human, like she said. Try to stick to books that are human related so that it doesn't completely rewire your brain. We wonder why women are not happy with what they're getting. This might be a part of it. Yeah, Cold Fist. They will shame the happy wives because of this. Yeah. I can't imagine I can't imagine women being married and looking for this kind of stuff. They might be like, they might come across it and be, oh, that's okay. But again, men, if you're married, especially if you're married to a woman that is reading this kind of smut, we men have got to start standing up for women, right? Women hold the power, hold the key when it comes to intimacy, when it comes to that kind of stuff. But we are the ones who control relationships, right? We understand that. So we need to start trying to be better for the women, helping their mentality as well as them helping our mentality.
You in on a little secret. The quiet nerdy girl is way more of a freak than the average hoe. Are you kidding me? It's not even close. The average hoe might have a body count of like 15 or so, but the quiet nerdy girl is fantasizing about getting back shots from Cthulhu. That is at least 100 bodies. Now listen, there's nothing inherently wrong with fantasizing, okay? There's nothing wrong with roleplay.
But again, like, I mean, I'm not agreeing that it's the extreme that she's saying, right? 100 bodies by reading these books. But again, if you're rewiring your brain, women will argue that the P word is like this for men, right? For bodies comparatively to OnlyFans or P. There we go. So women, when you ask them how many bodies they have, and they get all upset about it, right? And they try to liken it to how many hours of the P word. Are we going to start adding in how many hours, how many books have you read on top of the number of bodies that you have? Is that what we're going to start doing to make it equal? Again, I love you women. I love everyone. Everybody is equal. But when it comes down to it, we have to start holding each other accountable again, and women are the ones who hold the key. You're the ones who have all of the power. All you have to do is say no, not until you give me the commitment. But we need to start getting back to some kind of commitment and some kind of idea of not ruining our brains.
Fiction is fiction, right? You're not actually going to bang your stepsister, right? These women are not actually going to bang a cow, or at least I hope not. We all know there is a difference between fantasy and reality. Well, what happens when they try to bring fantasy into reality? Well, you get Sinners and Stardust.
I don't want to pause it here.
What in the eyes wide shut is going?
Seriously though, I couldn't pause it there because that part made me uncomfortable. But this is a book club get together. Like, yo, Vic! Holy cow! It is good to see you, brother. So that's just it. This is a book convention, right? This is what they do, getting together after reading these books. I can't even take it back. How can that possibly be good for the brain? Regardless of what you're reading, if that then becomes a reality, like that book club essentially is, right? What's the difference between the P word, essentially, and what was just happening? If they're turned on by the other worldly things, then what was that? Right? And it just gets worse.
On here. Sinners and Stardust was supposed to be a dark romance ball for romantasy authors and fans alike. So what's the big deal? Seems like a fun, sexy time, right? Maybe, if you're a woman. If you're a man, the night may have gone a little differently for you. Alright y'all, it appears I have to make a post that I'm frankly pretty goddamn upset I have to make. This post is for the readers who don't understand consent and boundaries only. A lot of you may know my good friend Animus. He's attended a signing of mine in the past and obviously is a musical artist. This past weekend, he attended Sinners and Stardust and probably had one of the most heartbreaking experiences. So listen, he's a man, right? But do we think that means it's okay to put your hands all over him without consent? Or to put your hands in his waistband or down his pants or touch his dick? Hello? Do we think it's okay to quite literally back him into a corner and touch all over him to the point that he literally cannot tell how many hands are on him and whose are whose? Do we think it's okay to send him into an actual panic attack?
If this, again, I mean, obviously, what can I say? I'm just reading something given by somebody else. But if this had happened to a female, it would have made national news, right? Where is the equality for the other gender when we're pushing so much for equality for one? I have personally been physically assaulted, whatever you want to call it, right? I don't, it was funny. I mean, I'm a man. I'm always welcome to advances, right? But it was something that should not, if I had done it to her, anybody seeing it would have freaked out. But she was able to do it to me in a public place. We'll just leave it at that. But she was able to do it. Not a single person said anything. I had to turn around and say, "What are you doing? That's not okay." Regardless of whether I'm okay with it or not, that is not an okay action, right? We need to get out of the idea that we can just objectify anyone. If women don't like to be objectified, they need to stop doing the objectification themselves, to themselves, let alone like this, right? This is nuts for a man to, and he was dressed up at one of these book conventions.
Because of this? Furthermore, do we think it's okay to interrogate him and insist he detail how he'd kidnap a woman, despite him repeatedly saying he wouldn't do that and that shit is fiction, and then attempt to follow him when he tries to get away? And if that wasn't enough, during the time of this mob, him and another author received notification that an air tag was tracking him.
I know, Vic, man. I gotta get attention where I can find it, right? Sorry.
Which showed on his person all the way to his hotel room. They molested this guy until he passed out from anxiety. And then they put a f***ing tracker on him in order to stalk him back to his hotel. This poor guy dressed like a character in one of the romantasy books at this romantasy convention full of women. That is like throwing roast beef into a pit of wolves. Or in this case, throwing a wolf into a pit of roast beef. I remember years ago there was this thing.
What? Oh, Jesus. I couldn't have made that joke. It would not have landed like that. Anyway, so the biggest thing is women, when you get into power positions, you seem to, and I'm not talking directly to you, right? This is my first stream. Please understand that I'm just talking in general. I do not talk in monoliths ever. I just want to point out that when women in general find a position of power, they usually take advantage of that power. So like, for example, the SA rates in schools and things like that are women. Like, so for this majority of women, I thought women are peaceful. I thought they're all loving, their acceptance. It should have just simply been, oh, thanks for the good view. I don't know. I don't know what he looked like. It wasn't me, Vic, sorry. But the point is especially if it looked like these ladies here, there should never have been anything inside of that personal bubble. Right? If a man had gone up to either one of these young ladies here in this picture and done anything of the sort, it would have been immediately a national news or an R charge, if nothing else, right? Right. That's just it. Like, Foofy, this poor man, why on earth would that treatment of anyone be considered acceptable? SA quality must be a priority. Respect for everyone and respect for yourself. Respect for yourself. Self-respect has got to make a comeback. That will be one of the biggest things that I hit on my channel is self-respect. If you know what it's like to be disrespected, why would you want to do that to anyone else? Right? So self-respect needs to come back. Cosplay is not consent. My goodness, I didn't even pay attention to that. That's funny that they have that, right? Please keep your hands to yourself. That goes for both sides. Wasn't BLM ran by women? Yeah, that I don't know for sure, but I think that the pictures that I saw that's correct. And a majority of the money they made was embezzled. So, right? Who knows?
Called Cosplay is Not Consent. Basically, it was a campaign to bring attention to the fact that people at conventions would often come up to women dressed in sexy costumes and just grope and grab them without their consent. Yeah, apparently we have to bring that back because these women did not get the memo. I've been a furry for over a decade and attended a lot of fur cons. Sure, sometimes weird shit happens, but
of course it's a Reddit. What do we expect, right?
Honestly, I can't believe the dark romance crowd is out here acting like this. Like, me and my buddies in our fursuits are more respecting of consent and bodily autonomy. Get your shit together, y'all. When the furries are calling you out for being freaks, you need to reflect. Something has gone horribly wrong.
Seriously,
Not only were the men at this book talk convention assaulted, but women were also assaulted by women. Multiple women, including a performer, reported being assaulted there as well. Even an author there said she was groped and dragged away from her friends and said no matter how many times she said no, quote, "My words did nothing." May I remind you.
Now, again, with these conventions, especially these book conventions or these game conventions where they're a fantasy, and the book conventions where they've fantasized our fantasies, and they're wanting the dominance, they're wanting the ooga booga, slam them over the head and take them back to their cave kind of idea. They're craving this when they're going to these conventions, and then to turn around and snatch somebody up like this is crazy. This is wild, and this stuff is going on like it's everyday kind of thing. Again, if you haven't watched the Whatever podcast, there have been some times where they'll bring on guests that do these wild acts in public, and even though the Whatever podcast, Brian, he'll go to the convention site and the site will say this is not permitted. They'll be like, oh, it's fine. And obviously it is to a certain extent because they're not called out in the time, right? If it wasn't actually allowed, you would think that the convention would have people watching out for this kind of stuff. And if they're not, this is a big concern for me, and it should be for more people. Because regardless of how you see it, it should stay behind closed doors. If you like doing that kind of stuff, that is not for me to decide. That is between you and your entity that you decide that you want to bow down to, whatever you want to call it. Personally, I believe in God. But if you don't, there's still got to be some morals. Again, to be defiling something is wrong. We know it's wrong, but why is it wrong? Why does the secular view see it as wrong, right? So we need to get back to a unified understanding of why it's wrong.
This is a book convention, okay? For books. Literal BDSM clubs are more respectful than this.
That's just it. Is when BDSM clubs are more respectful, because they are. Again, these whatever podcast. I'm not part of any of these groups, nor do I have any intention of ever being part of any of these groups. But I've done a decent amount of research because I'm morbidly curious. And so I've looked into these different niches and different ideas, and this isn't this isn't okay.
There needs to be more studies on how this stuff affects women's brains, because clearly some are unable to tell the difference between fantasy and reality. Ivy Lipton, a doctoral candidate in human sexuality, actually wrote about this for EV Magazine. I don't know what a doctoral...
And of course, she had to be sexy herself, because sex sells and we can't do anything without it, apparently. Jesus.
Candidate in human sexuality is, but she's hot, so I trust her. Your brain on orgasms isn't neutral. Dopamine release during climax is a powerful conditioning agent. What you repeatedly fantasize about becomes necessary for arousal. If your erotic imagination centers around abuse, monstrous violence, and submission to non-human entities, your brain is reprogramming itself to crave just that. It's not empowerment, it's neuroplasticity at its darkest. Scientists, psychologists, and the general public often state that men are visual and women are emotional. When it comes to sex, men can be turned on instantly by a sexual image despite their mood, and women need to be turned on emotionally to get in the mood. So it stands to reason that porn for men is visual and porn for women is in the mind. I'm not equating porn to smut novels, because one is a video of two people actually having real sex and the other...
I am equating it, because... For me, for example, when I read a book, it becomes a movie in my mind. I understand there are some people out there that don't do the same thing when they read its words that they're reading, and they have to try to comprehend. I don't know how it works for them. But personally, I view pictures. I see what's going on. And as they're describing this, I'm seeing it vividly in my mind. So if this is the case, then... yes, I 100% equivocate it to each other. So just while I've got this paused, I'm curious, how does the chat look on the screen for you guys? Like, can you even see that? Not even, yeah, I know what I'm doing. Can you even see that? Anyway, back to it.
There is, well, just words on paper. I am, however, talking about the effect on the consumer. We know watching porn is bad for the brain. That's been proven and only rejected by gooners who don't want to give it up. But is reading smut bad? You might say, duh, that's the whole point. Okay, fair enough. So let me rephrase. Is reading smut harmful?
Is it bad? Duh. There was a time in my experience that I ran across some people doing not so great drugs, and I asked them what they were doing, and they said shit. That's how they described it. And I said, what? And they told me what they were doing, and I said, why would you call it that? And they're like, that's what it is. And I was like, why would you fucking do it then? Right? Same case. reading smut is bad. Duh. So why do you do it? Am I wrong? Bad is bad. Bad is not good. Bad is the opposite of kosher. Right? I like kosher salt and butter. Got to get me some spices when I go, mashed up. But this is getting me mashed up, right? The idea that men are shamed for their pee habits. I come across all sorts of ads for getting me off of something that I don't have a problem with per se, right? And they keep coming at, like, why isn't this being shamed? Why isn't, again, equality, right?
Should we shame people for things that are wrong, immoral, or harmful? In my line of work, I've been told many times that shame has no place in sex. But if I use my brain for 2 seconds, it's clear that line of thinking is nonsense. Incest should be shamed, bestiality should be shamed, pedophilia should be shamed.
Exactly. All of that should be shamed, not just a taboo subject, right? It's not something that we when it's talked about, it's put to the side. But these should straight out be shamed. Okay? And like Pumpkinheads, when I read a book or manga, I see it like a movie in my head. I do the same thing. And if Potato smokes pot, does he become a baked potato? I don't know. I probably, I guess that would be, yeah, you're baked. Yeah, I guess that would technically be the right case. So then just add some butter and chives. Yes, exactly. Extra chives. Yeah. All right. The black against red. Yeah. That's what I was worried about, is the chat setup. I was trying to make it so that it contrasted enough so that I could see it, right? Because I knew it was going to be small on my screen. But I wanted to be able to see it so that I could make sure that everything was working properly. So I appreciate that feedback. I'll try to change that. Actually, while we're talking about it right now, let's see. I'll worry about it later. Okay, so back to it. Let's see. See the quote and you and the chat. Foofy, you doing okay? Say you can see the quote, you and the chat, so you can see everything. Yes, of course, it's bad. Finding intimacy outside of consensual committed couples destroys one's ability to be attracted to traditional intimacy. Like, it changes what you're attracted to over time. And that's exactly it right there. Is over time, like I mentioned earlier, is the men start out in the Victoria's Secret magazines and they progressively go up. So is Disney what starts this idea, right? The fantasy. I've got to get my fantasy fix, essentially. And then it goes into reading books as you get older. And then the idea of those books become more and more, because again, women aren't looking for things to view as much as read, right? And we need to be shaming things like the things that are listed on the screen here. I'm not going to say them just in case, but we need to equivocate men doing the P word to women reading this level of smut, if nothing else. Like I can't, I've dated women that read the smut, and I haven't read the books that they've read, so I don't know exactly what they're reading, but I have heard of things that aren't to the point where I'm like, oh my goodness, that's not, no, like you shouldn't be reading that. But it is to a certain extent. We need to be shaming, and especially anything that isn't human.
I'm not equating monster smut with these things, but there are 50 shades of gray, so to speak, along the spectrum of harmful. Conditioning your brain and body to associate pleasure with monsters, slavery, or sexual violence is not healthy. Basically, they're cooked. Like, women are cooked. They are frying their brains with this stuff. It's a pipeline, right? It's like the infamous evil alt-right pipeline. You know, you start watching Shoe on Head, owning the feminists in 2015, and then in 2025, you're hailing Hitler, right? You know, the alt-right pipeline.
Grunge Head, if you're still in the chat, I'm sorry, I didn't even notice you come in. Welcome. Thank you for the engagement. Wyman, am I right? Yeah, you are right. Wyman. I'm not sure what they're thinking, but yes.
And this one's like, you're reading Morning Glory Milking Farm, and the next thing you know, you're Mrs. Hands, right? Just say no. Just say no to monster porn. But why is monster smut so popular with women in particular? Like, you rarely see the opposite, and when you do, it's just like a girl with cat ears and fangs, or like a 10-foot tall dommy mommy vampire.
What's funny about the cat ears is manga and anime, I guess they actually geared it around a cat. That's why they always look so childlike, I guess, and it's to entice people to read it. Like that's the, like she just said, basically that's what guys like to see. I don't know, like I'm a potato, I guess, because I like manga because it's interesting. I don't like it because the girls look like what I would like to see.
With giant titties. Meanwhile, women are like, I want to the pollution monster from Fern Gully. So people on Reddit asked this very question. Let's see the responses. Why do you guys like monster romance?
Well, I'm not necessarily saying that cat girls aren't sexy. I won't lie if I mean, but not furry cat girl. No, that is absolutely correct, Pumpkinhead. I will agree with you on that one. The ears and the tails are fine, but not the full on beat look. Yeah. Again, I agree. If you want to get, I mean, cosplay is one thing. The furries though, that's different, right? That is a complete ideology. Cosplay is I'm getting dressed up like something. There's definitely a difference. I can't really, I guess maybe I can't put my finger on my eye on it. I don't know.
Asking for a friend. Several reasons. One, human men are quite often terrible. Romance.
And this, I mean, I can understand where she's coming from when she gives this explanation. But if you want, stop going into books to find it and look. Go out and try. You need to become who you want. Who they want. You want to become that, right? And going into a book and just searching for something that isn't reality is not going to get you that. And especially number 3, this is
books with human men are already partly fantasy, but monsters just takes the fantasy bit further. 2, it's sort of human nature to imagine relationships with paranormal beings and creatures. We've been doing it in literature and art for centuries. It's just gotten a lot more graphic now, lol. 3, unique body forms / parts and so many different kinds of dicks. Scary, mean, terrifying creature is sweet to her, kind, takes care of her, protects her, works hard to be gentle, etc.
So I am very confused with that one. Scary, mean, terrifying creature. Is that why they're choosing the bear? I'm really confused on this one, because if you want someone scary, mean, and terrifying, then you want majority of men is sweet to her, kind, takes care of her, then you're looking for, again, that 1%, and you need to start becoming who they want. And again, when it comes to a high value man, he has high values. That's how I see it. High value man is because he values himself higher, and he's striving for higher, for better than what he was. That's high values. High morals is what men are looking for in women, right? And we are looking for women that are chaste, that are wanting to be that sweet and caring side so that we can be sweet and kind and taking care of her. We can't go home and be kind and taking care of somebody who is not going to be kind in return. We have got to start to be unified again.
Maximal escapism, minimal association to real-life assholes, the patriarchy, misogyny, and oppression of women, etc., etc. Because the monsters are less dangerous than...
Hey, Tyler, just real quick, if you're still in the chat, thank you very much for the engagement. Thank you very much. I appreciate that feedback, man. And again, anybody that views this, I am all for constructive criticism. I want to be a person that people look to, look for, that can confide in, that can trust. That's why my face is here. I care. I just want to help. That's what I'm here for.
Dating actual men. As a fat woman of color, modern, contemporary, and even fantasy romances are hard to click to because they are almost always about thin white women and just too realistic, and romance in real life is not always attainable for fat women/women of color. In monster alien romance, though, my size doesn't matter, and it's easier to get into that headspace and enjoy it. I'm sick of the men on Earth and looking for some variety.
And I get that. I do, but there's a variety in men. And the less you allow us into your space by doing this, the less we can protect you. The less you are willing to give us the allowance to protect you.
Non-humans haven't betrayed and hurt me, so they feel like a safe haven, if that makes sense. Plus the unusual dick. Monsters have big, fun-shaped cocks. I love some bizarre peen.
Again, I am sure, I don't know this, and I don't care to know this, but I am sure there are a lot of varieties out there. Do not go and search for them. But this idea that you need to be in a book searching for them, that is bad. And yes, the idea that size matters, I get that. But again, if you are chaste until you find the person who loves you and will do everything they can, I'm someone who tries probably too hard to appease the person that I'm with. But you got to give me some leeway to be able to learn you, to be able to understand what you want. And the more you get into these books and this idea that monster, bizarre, you're rewiring your brain to think that this isn't bizarre, so this isn't what I want.
Unique genitalia. I don't know what I was expecting, honestly. A lot.
That's fair. But again, unique. I don't look for unique that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for continuity. I'm looking for someone who will do right by me. And even this is weird, man.
A lot of women's smut, especially monster smut, is about submission, domination, forced breeding, non-consensual consent. The women are like conquered and taken and overpowered by these monsters. And I think many of these women are reading these books containing monsters and not men because masculinity and dominance in men has been completely demonized in modern society. But the truth is, many women still crave it. You see, the monsters in these stories have those like dominant masculine traits that women like so much, but they're not human men. They have all these traits women desire without the problematic baggage human men bring, without being the men they hate or have been told to hate. It is the perfect...
They've been told to hate. That's the key right there. So a lot of women that I know have had bad experiences. I will not deny that. And where it comes to men, I have a serious issue with the way that they act. But when it comes down to it, again, this idea, it cannot continue. We have got to get out of the idea that you can read about anything and think that it's going to not affect you. Because I've never, ever read anything like this, but the books that I have read have stood with me, have made an impact, and have made me rethink reality on many occasions. There are many things that I've taken from the books and use in my day-to-day life. And I won't necessarily cite them right now, but there's a lot of reality to books. We can't let fantasy of this extent take over our literature.
Guilt-free slop. But they don't just want a wild, dominant man. They want to tame a wild, dominant man. Similar to when a man sees an art hoe with a nose ring, you can save her from her daddy issues. You can do it. It definitely won't backfire and ruin your life. Go for it. Go talk.
And that's just it. We men think that we can change women. Women think that they can change men. You can't change anyone. We as people need to, again, self-respect, right? Once you have self-respect, you know what respect is. You start to automatically respect others. That's when you can finally find someone to respect and receive respect from. If you don't respect yourself, then you don't know what respect is. You don't expect it in return because you're not giving it, right? Once you fantasize about horse clocks, it's all over. And that's, unfortunately, that's just it, is women like to accuse men of not being able to be intimate because of their pee addiction, where I'm not disagreeing with that. I don't have that level of addiction, but the fact of the matter is we've got to start caring about our mental health, caring about the next person's mental health. Because again, if I were to be in a relationship with a woman and she were to be reading this, it would hurt me. It would probably scar my soul a little bit. And I would either burn the book or I would leave her and never probably talk to her again. This is weird. I don't believe they had bad experiences with men. It's always that. Pumpkinhead. Unfortunately, a lot of the people, even men, right? We try to blame others. Misery loves company. So we'll push that blame. We'll project onto everybody and anybody that we can. And so women will accuse the exes, men will accuse the exes, and I do my best. I'm guilty of it too at times, but I do my best to give account for both records, right? To give my view and their view so that you can find the middle ground, right? Because everything has three stories: their side, your side, and then the truth. And I'm this, right? So we need to start getting back to understanding that there's a middle ground somewhere.
With many women, there's this desire for like danger and aggression, but also the desire to tame that danger and aggression. The desire to be that special woman who can melt his heart. You see, my dragon boyfriend could rip me to shreds and kill me instantly, but he won't because he's nice and he loves me. But honestly, at the end of the day, just like the video I made about the anime girl in a wheelchair where men were saying this.
So that's just it. Like she says, women want a creature, I guess, that can potentially tear them apart, but chooses not to. Right? The idea that you want something that you can't have. That is a big thing. That's why men that have wedding rings on get hit on by women, where women don't hit on men like hardly ever at all. That's why women that have wedding rings on get a lot more attention, probably a lot of the time. I personally see a ring and I immediately dart. I immediately stop trying to give any kind of attention to it because I am not a home wrecker. I'm trying to create a home. And by trying to take someone from a home is not going to create a home, right? Once a cheater, always a cheater. If they're willing to cheat on their other person, who's to say they're not willing to cheat on you, right? So, yeah, that's pretty much all that I have. I was shooting for about 2 hours and we hit that, which I'm kind of surprised. I didn't know if I'd have enough yap ability to give you guys that amount of time. But I really appreciate the support. Being my first stream, I would say that it was halfway decent. The interaction that I had was intense. A huge shout out for everyone that hit my chat today. I cannot tell you what it means to have the support from the Coolverse, from Cool Vic. Cool V1C, if you have not seen his channel, please go check that out. He has a lot of good information, a lot of good takes, and he is about to blow up. So we're all excited to see that happen. So real quick, checking the chat, see if there's anybody that... Yeah, Foofy. Women want male dominance. And I want to bring it back. I want to allow the ability for men to be masculine and have it healthy. Because it is healthy. The patriarchy is a healthy idea. What? Pumpkinhead. There was one dude that made a Tinder profile where he said he beats women and had multiple domestic violence charges, and women flocked to him like mad. Yeah, I think it's hybristophilia. I think is what I think the term. It's if you take a bad boy and you're trying to make him a good boy, whatever kind of thing. I think it's hybristophilia, and it seems to be really, really prevalent in women. And I don't know. I don't understand that. I guess I do like a bad girl every once in a while, but it's only simply because her morals are going to be loose, right? And I'm not that way anymore, right? I've grown up so much. Holy cow. I'm an old fart now, but when I was young, dumb and full of whatever, right? I was trying to, but now I have respect, I have loyalty, I have honor. That's what I'm trying to gear toward. That's what I'm trying to give out. Thank you, Vic. I really appreciate that, man. Your streams are always good, and I'm just trying to match some good streamers. Yeah. Cold Fist, I know, like, I'm so confused with this chat. Like, holy cow. It's so crazy. Yeah, so, Cold Fist, I actually dated a girl with bipolar. She was bipolar and manic depressant. That was one of the ones that I had referred to earlier. So, yeah, they're out there, right? And us men, we're doing our best to try to protect them. Because I did my best. I really did. But yeah. So for now, I'll go ahead and let you guys go. Like I said, we hit that 2-hour mark. So thank you again, all of you. And Pumpkinhead, I really hope that you can figure something out. And we're all rooting for you, buddy. So if you need anything, we're all here. For now, as always, at the end of every video, please take care of yourselves out there. Inside of the United States, remember those Second Amendment rights. Your response time will always be faster than that of the police. It's always better to be tried by 12 of your peers than to be carried by 6. Stay strapped or get clapped. Stay strapped, stay safe, and stay around. You are all very important. Outside of the United States, remember, your rights are important. Stop giving them up, please. And for now, the potato signing off from his first stream. You guys have a wonderful